Welcome back, fellow Illumineers, to be our guest. So excited to be back again with you today. Thank you for checking out our one-drop draft video yesterday. But we are back to continue the draft set reviews. We're doing 2 drops today. This is where it really starts mattering. Let's be honest. The last video was there any bits of treasure amongst the heaps of garbage? But now that we're into 2 drops, we can start talking about some cards that you're actually interested in drafting. And so, of course, to take us into a conversation about the wonderful things to come, we've got with us today the one, the only, James, aka Dan Regal. James, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I always watch your videos for these, and I'm like, this is very good information. So now I'm getting the information firsthand and being a part of it. So this is going to be really fun.
And can push back.
Right?
Yeah. Thanks. I'll slip you the $50 later for saying you actually watch the videos. I appreciate it.
I do. Actually do.
So, James, as I'm sure you know, if you watch this channel, it means that you watch the fringe parts of the Lorcana community. So you definitely know the more prominent part of James's life, which was as a member of Citizens of Lorcana. And more recently, he's been joining myself and Benny on the Overexerted podcast, which has been fantastic. And I've really enjoyed having you on there to help keep me sane amidst Benny's insanity. So let's take a moment, pass it back to past me to talk us through what do our ranking systems mean? How are we ranking these cards today? Take it away, Heath. So we're going to do A, B, C, D, F as our rating system. A is first pickable and happy to first pick it. This is a bomb or just really effective card. There are commons that are absolutely within this territory. But ultimately, it's something that you're just like, you open your pack, you look at it, and you're like, yeah, this is the one for me. Love this one. Happy to have it, right? That's an A. B is, I'll first pick it, but I'm not going to be absolutely thrilled about it. But I'm definitely very happy to pick this up and have this in my deck. I will always play this card, and I'm going to kind of be picking it in the first half of the pack. C's are your, like, journeyman staples of your deck. You're almost always going to play these cards unless you've drafted so well that your deck's just crammed full of A's and B's. So you're always going to play these cards, or almost always. But you're not exactly thrilled to be taking them. You're just like, okay, these are cards that are going to fill out my deck, right? These are the cards that you want kind of in the middle to last half of the pack, and they're solid. D is, ideally, I'd like to not have this in my deck. I will play this, but I'd like to not have this in my deck if I can help it, and I'm certainly not wasting any early picks on it. These are cards that you are going to be picking up because it's the only cards left in the last third of the pack, right? Ideally, these should all be inkable. If they're that bad, you should not be taking an uninkable card that's that quality, right? And then F is don't play it. And usually that's because they're uninkable and they're like D quality and uninkable. But it could also, there could be some inkable cards that I rate as S just because they're so bad. And in that case, obviously, if they're inkable and you need ink, you're going to play them in your deck because you're only eliminating 8 cards that you drafted. So if you have, 8 uninkables that are Fs, you're going to play an F that's inkable, of course, right? But you should try never to have this anywhere near your deck, and you should only be using it as ink if I've got an inkable F in there. And we're back. Really well said. I really like the way you put that together, Heath. Thank you very much for that. All right. Let's get started. So our first card, we are going in set order. Our first card is Rapunzel. And I forgot to mention this earlier, so we'll just mention it to the audience now. So what I usually like to do is, James, I'll read a card, get your thoughts at first, and then give my thoughts. And then afterwards, this next card you can read. I'll start the thoughts, and we'll just bounce back and forth. So we kind of take turns there. So we're going to start with Rapunzel Sunshine. She is an inkable 1/4, 1 lore with the ability to exert to remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character. Notably, she is also a hero princess, which might come up later. What are your thoughts on Rapunzel?
It's a nice ability, and in limited, I think that healing is it can be very powerful. So I think this is a decent This is like I would put this on my stack of, okay, this one's making it in if I have room. Easily making it in if I have room. So I would put it like middle of the road.
Middle of the road. So is that like middle of the C road? Like, I feel me when you say if I've got room, strikes me as a C, but what you said earlier sounds more like a
B.
higher ranking than that. So
Well, the thing is that if you're looking at the set as a whole, there's so many two drops
yep.
that this one would probably be in the middle of the two drops. So depending on how many other cards in threes and fours you had, I would say this would make it in if you had the room for it. But also, I wouldn't have a problem putting this in just because it is also inkable. So I would put this at the very front of C or the very bottom of B.
Yeah. I think I can get behind that right now. So my thoughts is I normally don't like healing in limited, but that's because it's usually attached to like an item or an action or something like that. When it's attached to a character, then at least I have the character as a kind of backup plan to quest with, right? If the healing isn't relevant. The fact that she's got the full 4 willpower means that there's a good shot that she might actually survive to do it a couple of times. And if she doesn't, it means that they've swung a significant character at her, which distracted it for the turn, so that's not too bad. I don't love 2-cost 1/4s vanilla, but you add this ability onto it, I think definitely there's something there, right? So if this was a vanilla, I'd have it at like a C- at best, D+, but you tack this on here, and I think you're right on the money, kind of in the C+ territory. I don't think I'd go as high as B-, but again, we'll see where the day takes us, and we'll go from there. All right. read us the lengthy script on the next one.
Stitch. Vanilla 2/3. 1 lore. That's it.
Yeah. So there was once upon a time, first chapter, Floodborn, Rise of the Floodborn, Inklands, where the 2-cost 2/3 vanillas I liked quite a bit. I had them usually in the like B territory. I've come down off them since then, just because I think people are adapting. I used to like them because people would draft a lot of 1-drops that, you know, I could run this into 2 of them and get a lot of 2-for-1s. People are getting wising up to that, so they're not quite as useful as they used to be. But I still think they're pretty useful as far as early game goes. Certainly, I like them a lot better than the 1/3 or 1/4s. And I think you can't just not draft 1 and 2 drops. So if you're going to draft 2 drops, this is probably going to be on the higher end of it, but not necessarily high up there. So I would even rank it probably below Rapunzel. Not a lot below, but I would probably rank it below there. What are your thoughts?
That sounds good to me.
All right. Speaking of vanilla 1/4s, pretty much, we've got Ursula Vanessa, who's an inkable 1/4 1 lore with the ability Singer 4. What do you feel about Singer in limited, James?
Singer is basically very, very situational. So this is the kind of thing where if you happen to get lucky enough to pull 4 powerful songs, this card is awesome. But are there 4 powerful songs that cost 4 or less?
So this is where I think it's worth addressing that this set is probably going to be more powerful than your average set, because they're drawing on definitely not the best cards, as we've established on the Overexerted podcast, but they're drawing on slightly better than average cards from 4 sets to populate 1 set. So on average, I would say the average card is going to be a little bit stronger. Ergo, the songs are probably a little bit stronger, but even so, there's not a ton of them. And most of the strongest ones are either Sing Together or 3-cost. And so is this going to be as impactful? The Sing Together, probably a little bit. But still, I feel like Singer is almost vanilla. Like, you get a 5% boost above vanilla stat lines. So, I mean, I've got her in D territory, C- D territory. If you happen to draft some good Sing Together songs, I don't even know if there's a good 4-drop song in this set, but I'm probably not. Zeus isn't.
Speaking Undisputed is like basically the 4-drop.
Yeah, you'll hear about how I feel about B King and Limited in the 4-drops, but there's a lot of chaff flying around when you're getting your opponent to choose their worst character to banish. So Bee King I don't think is particularly strong. It's still removal, but it's not great removal. So I'd have her in the D territory personally. I don't know if you feel strongly about bumping her up at all.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay with me.
Read us through the next one.
This one's uninkable. Bruno's Return. It's just a plain action. Return a character card from your discard to your hand, then remove up to 2 damage from chosen character.
So this is combining two things that I don't think are particularly strong and limited. One is healing on an action, as I mentioned. The other is returning a character from your discard to your hand. Like when we had Hades in the first chapter, where I had a 3/2 body attached to that, all of a sudden I'm interested. But just an action to pay 2 to get the best character that's in your discard. When in limited, on average, your best character is probably not going to be a bomb. Like, if you get Tinkerbell out, Giant Fairy, chances are you're ending the game before she hits the discard. So getting her back isn't going to necessarily be all that relevant. Chances are it's going to be something in the like C to C plus territory that you're getting back most of the time. At an uninkable, if this was inkable, I might be interested. Even then, probably not significantly because it costs me a card. So I'm trading this plus 2 ink. So it's like drawing the character instead, but I have to pay an additional 2 ink for it. So yeah, I'm not thrilled about it. For me, this is an F. I think it's playable, but I think if this was inkable, it would be D, where, you know, sometimes it's good and most of the time it's ink, but because it's uninkable, it's an F for me.
Yeah, I would put it there. I mean, the only reason I would put this in is if I had to.
Yeah, if I've got nothing else to play, just literally everything else is worse than being ink. Yeah, I mean, if I manage to draft like 4 bomb characters, then I'm maybe interested in Bruno's Return. But I just think the odds that you'll draft a bomb, find the bomb, have it go to the discard, and have Bruno's Return at the time you want it and not early in the game being stuck in your hand as uninkable, I think is just so infrequent that you should just stay away from it. Hey! Branding! I swear the channel was not named after this card. I wouldn't be ashamed if it was, but it's just not. I just like the song. And I thought it was a welcoming title. Alright, Be Our Guest. Inkable song, action song. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. I don't know why I keep looking down at the card like I don't know exactly what this card says. What do you think about this card in Limited?
Well, it's card draw, so I love it. It's, I don't know. I'd play this. I'd put this one in just because then it lets me get a card in hand. I know it's just replacing itself, but still, you're getting to filter. You're getting a character. You get the one you want. Hopefully, a decent one that you want on curve. So I would definitely put this in. So I would probably put this one in B because I would play it every time I got it.
Okay.
But you may think that it's not as good, so you may put it into C. But I would this is definitely one I would be near the top of my 2s because I would be wanting to search through my cards.
So this is where I'm going to get nitpicky with you a little bit, which is to say you said it's card draw. I would define card draw as getting a card plus some additional value.
Right.
A body, so a Maleficent Sorceress where you get a 2/2 plus card draw, or Cusco where you get the 1/2 body and then get to draw a card. Obviously drawing 2 cards. This is more card selection. And you kind of clarified afterwards, but I just want to make sure everyone at home is clear. When I'm talking about how much I love card draw, it's usually a card plus some other value.
Right.
So this is more card selection, which isn't invaluable. It is still of value, but not as much as pure card draw. So, do I value paying 2 ink and or exerting my 2-cost character to get to look at 4 cards versus just drawing what is likely to be a character instead of this? So my average character, which is probably a C to C+, my average character, drawing that instead of paying an additional 2 ink or paying the cost of exerting my character to maybe get a slightly better character. Go from a C+ to a B- or a C to a C+. I still think I play this, but I don't want to talk about how we play it. I want to talk about where we draft it. Which is to say, if you're drafting this in the B territory, that's probably like middle of the pack. And I think you can get a better character at that point that you would rather draw instead of this. And if you were going to go searching for a character with this, the best you could probably hope for is a character that you would likely draft at that point in the pack. So I would say, yes, draft this. Yes, play this. But you probably want to draft it to the latter half of the pack into that C territory. Because all you're doing is probably upgrading the character a little bit at the cost of potentially a lore, because you could be questing instead with that 2-cost character or an additional 2 ink. The fact that it's inkable saves it. If it wasn't, this would be an F for me. But I would have it more in that C territory. Have I swayed you, or would you like to fight for it to be more in B? I'm fine with either or.
No, you're right. You're right. My experience is mainly in sealed, not draft. So
yeah,
it's something that is it's a different mindset. So in draft, yes, I would say in draft, this is definitely lower than it would be in sealed.
So this is a good point, because we want to try and address sealed and draft. I'm more of a drafter, so I tend to go from that angle, but we try to make this applicable for everyone. So keep that in mind, which is, I would probably put this kind of in this territory, because I think Stitch is going to bump down quite a bit. I want them kind of both to be in the middle of in this territory by the time all's said and done, potentially lower. But in sealed, that could be more significant or less. But yeah, I mean, I think it's something that you're always playing in sealed. But anything above C- really, for me, is playable, right? It's once you're in the D and F that I would want to be in sealed, just not have if I can help it. So all of these in C- and above, I would categorize as playable, is just to what degree. All right, next card. Speaking of unplayable.
Next card. Lantern, the item, uninkable, exert 2, pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn.
Yeah. So if anyone's been watching this channel for a while, you'll know how I feel about ramp in limited. Here's the thing. That's just referring to adding more ink to your inkwell. This doesn't do that. This reduces the cost of characters. So it's limiting what you can spend that ink on. Now, let's be frank, in limited, most of the things that you're going to be doing is characters. Probably 90+% of your deck. So it's not a huge difference, but there is nuance there. The reason I don't typically like ramp in limited is it costs you a card. And at the end of the day, cards are king in limited. You run out of cards so often and so quickly that if you're spending a card on something like Lantern, you're going to get out your 4-drop a turn faster than your opponent. And for a short time, that's going to feel good. But eventually, you're going to run out of cards, and they'll have played on curve, and they're going to start getting to their other bodies, right? So maybe you have to stop at a 5-drop because you've lost a card and can't ink any further, and they're dropping 5s and 6s. Or they just have more to play out on the field, whereas your Lantern's just sitting there doing nothing. So personally, this is an F for me.
I'll go along with that. I don't mind.
The reason I spend so long talking about it is because I think people will fall for it being worthwhile, and for a short time it'll feel good, but then not so much. Why did we just get a really tiny Timothy? Timothy got so small. All right, we're gonna zoom in on Timothy there. It is very blurry, but that's all right. We'll manage. All right, so we got Timothy Q Mouse. He is an inkable 1/4, 1 lore. While you have a character with evasive in play, this character gets +1 lore. What do you think?
Well, it is just a 1/4. If you don't have an evasive in play, it's just a vanilla. So that makes it bad. But with an evasive, it is now 2 lore, which I do like. And I think that this set has a decent amount of evasives. So this is the kind of thing where, and especially since there's cards that we're going to have that are evasive on your turn, so that turns it on every time on your turn.
Yeah.
So
like several. I think we've got Well, we've got Jafar. We've got just in the 2 drops. I saw Jafar.
Cruella.
I saw Cruella. Yeah, and I think there's a fair few others that gain evasive on your turn. Yeah.
Plus the new cards like the new Dumbo.
Yeah.
And there's multiple cards that can give cards evasive.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is going to happen more often than other situational cards. So I would almost certainly put this in the C's because it's playable.
I think that's fair. Like I said, the 1/4 vanillas for me are on the fringe of D to C minus. I do think you're right. I think this will trigger more than situational things. And again, if you're a fan of this channel at all, you'll know that I'm not a fan of situational things. But I'm really not a fan of the things like Anna needs Elsa. That's just so unlikely to happen that you're going to draft both of them in high enough volumes to have both of them out at a time that matters, right? In the right order. So stuff like that doesn't happen very often, but needing an evasive is likely going to happen more often. So there's pluses and minuses. One, you want to draft evasives more. So you're much more likely to want to have evasives in your deck, which would trigger this. Downside is evasives are very popular. So you're going to have a lot of competition for those evasives. So you're probably not going to have as many as you'd like. I think on average, you're probably going to usually have like 3 to 4 cards that can either be evasive, give evasive, something like that. If you're doing really well, you're probably at like 5 or 6. So 5 or 6 would be where you need to be to feel confident that this is going to happen consistently. 3 to 4, probably not necessarily, but it's going to happen enough that maybe out of a 3-match pod, you're going to have this be relevant maybe 2 times, right? 2 games out of 6 to 8 or whatever, right? You're going to have a trigger. That's enough to move it up from D into C minus territory. I don't think much further than that. And obviously this is going to be dependent on how much evasives you've got. If you're really low on evasives, one, you're doing a terrible job drafting, and I'm sorry. Just kidding. Can't always, guarantee how the packs come. But yeah, you got to be watching for evasives for this to matter, but you should be doing that anyway, so. Okay. Oh, and we are back to it being... Why did it stick before and not now? All right.
Cusco, Inkable, 1/2 with 1 lore, and the ability when this card is banished, you may draw a card.
So this has come up before where drawing the card after I don't think is as good as drawing the card when it's played. But even so, I don't think it's far off. So if we compare this to like a Maleficent Sorcerer, which I usually have at like B+ territory, it costs 1 less, 1 less strength. I'm not necessarily super fussed about that. It's one of those things that your opponent's not necessarily going to want to challenge this because they don't want to give you the card. So it's probably going to get a 2 or 3 sneaky lore in there, unless your opponent's good, and then they'll give you the card right away, knowing that is better because you're getting it eventually. So yeah, I think I don't love this as much as like a B+, but I think I probably got it in B territory.
Yep.
Cool. Good talk.
I want to draw, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Like you said, the beginning or end, it doesn't really matter. You want the card draw, so this is going to get played.
Yeah. I would say if you pick it up around like 4th, 5th pick, something like that, you should be pretty happy about that. Poor Unfortunate Souls, Inkable Action Song, return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. Effectively return character, cost 2 or less to their player's hand.
I mean, I like it. It's good tempo. It's at the cost, like you say, it's at the cost of a lore or a character. So it's not, you would prefer it to be on a character of this ability, like Cloud Kicker.
Yeah.
But I would say that this is definitely in the, it is not down low. I would put it in the like C minus, because I would play it knowing it would definitely get played if I had room for it. Yeah, I think this is playable.
Okay. So I'm gonna disagree, but again, don't hesitate to push back. So this is my problem. Again, card card advantage or card disadvantage, as the case may be. So many times, limited games become a war of attrition. I run out of cards before you do, or vice versa. It is a huge swing. So what does this get you at the cost of a card? It gets you what we typically refer to as tempo, right? My opponent has to replay their character while I'm still building out my board. The problem with that is that it's limited to cost 2 or less. So really the only time this is valuable is early in the game. Later in the game, returning cost 2 or less is very insignificant. So it's really only valuable early in the game. So if you have, yes, you've got Curse Merfolk on 1 for 2 lore. And then you've got the Enchantress on turn 2 for 2 lore. And then, etc., etc. And maybe turn 4, you play this and a 2-drop or something like that. Maybe you're getting enough advantage out of that tempo for it to be worthwhile. But more often than not, they're just like, all right, I guess I'll just ink that and play my 3-drop. And, you maybe get to... This is going to help you get to 10, but I don't think this is going to help you get to 20. And at the cost of a card, you hit the nail on the head. If this was Cloud Kicker, I'd be in there. 1, it's strength. Kit is strength, so you could hit a higher cost character that has low strength. And 2, you get a body still, right? You can do something with that. This does not get that, and it's cost 2 or less. So for me, every once in a while, this might be useful, but it's still like mid to low D, because it's ink, but it's not even gaining me lore.
I'll allow it. But in your situation, I would 100% bounce that Cursed Merfolk back. And because in a turn or 2, I'm going to be probably out of cards in hand, and now I can banish that Merfolk with no penalty after they replay it. Because they're going to replay their Merfolk.
But you're paying ink for that, whereas you could just challenge Cursed Merfolk and discard Poor Unfortunate Souls.
Well, I suppose.
Yeah, Cursed Merfolk's bad. By the way, if you haven't watched the 1-drops yet, Cursed Merfolk is bad. It is not good enough. Unless you manage to draft really, really well and get a really good aggressive deck, that's about the early circumstance. If it's just in an average deck, it's not good. So, yes. Personally, this is there. If you want to fight for it, by all means.
It's all the way at the bottom of C for me if I put it in, but yeah, that's fine.
I can put it above Ursula for you. That's that's what I can give. That's what I can do for you. Why are these new cards not as high res? All right. This is probably cutting it off. Whatever. Okay. Your turn.
Is it?
I don't know. Okay. I get out of order all the time on these, James.
Magic Feather item with 2 abilities. First is when you play this item, you can choose a character of yours. And while the item stays in play, that character gains evasive. And the second ability is you can spend 3 ink and return the item to your hand.
So if I wasn't too lazy, I'd put the "it's a trap" segment in here. For me, this is the trap card of the set, which is, I'm going to say it's a trap card, but it might be a necessary evil trap card. Which is to say, if you are drafting well and you've got answers to evasives in your deck, this is a bad card. It costs you a card, again, to get some value, but for me, not enough to be a card's worth of value. You would have to have a really good reason to give something evasive. Like Enchantress, not good enough to spend a whole card giving her evasive, just because it's a 2-lore quester. It would have to be something like, hey, like Tinkerbell. We'll go back to her. If you give Tinkerbell evasive, mwah, chef's kiss. Fantastic, right? But you're not drafting Tinkerbell very often. So the expenditure of a card, putting you that much closer to that War of Attrition, to that top deck mode, is not going to be worth it on average to give something evasive, unless you just are out of evasive answers. If it's pack 4 and you're 3 picks in and you see this and you're like, I know I have 1 evasive answer in my whole deck, you're going to have to draft this. But otherwise you shouldn't, because ultimately, yes, it's reusable, but think back to like Longboat. I would rather pay 2 to give something evasive for a turn, because that's probably all I need it for, than to have to pay effectively 5 to give something evasive each time, because it's not lasting that long even as evasive. So I think this is probably a trap. At least it's inkable, so it's probably still in the like C- territory. I don't think it's a D. I don't think it's an F, but I think it's a trap because I think some people are going to look at this and see it as like a B+.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah. I mean, I would probably fall into this trap without investigating more, knowing that I would want evasives, but of course I would know that it would cost. And if I already had some evasives, this would just move further down the list the more evasives I have.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's as it should be, right? So I would not be taking this highly at all, pack 1 or 2, but if you get into pack 3 or 4 and you're really not doing well at finding evasives, and you've got Timothy Q. Mouse, who is featuring the Magic Feather in his card, then maybe yes. But I would put this even below him, because at least he is a body. All right. Grumble, grumble, grumble. I'm not going to like how the visuals look on this, but that's fine. All right. Magic Mirror. It is an uninkable item. You can exert it and pay 4 after you've already paid 2 to get it out to draw a singular card.
A+.
Now you're just trolling me.
The thing that came to mind on this one is that Parks and Recreation gif where it's straight to jail.
Yes. I love that one. I quote that often. Surprisingly, also jail.
Straight to F.
Yeah, it is absolutely an F. Here's the thing. We love drawing cards. I get it. I will put it above Lantern for sure. But it's just so slow. Limited can sometimes be a little bit slow, but still, to pay 6 to draw your first card, and even after you've got it out, just to pay 4 to draw a card, you're not getting much higher ink than that. So you've paid 4 and you can't play it. So then next turn you finally get to play it. And then the turn after that, you draw another card. And it's just so slow. Too slow. All
right. The Rose Lantern, another item. Exert it, spend 2, and move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character.
I mean, we like removal, but this is pretty expensive for 1 damage. Yes, if you use it 3 times, you're going to be like, I moved 3 damage, but you also spend 8 ink to do that. It is inkable, so I'm not going to put it in F. I would put it in like a high D because it's still occasionally useful. If you've got a situation where you've got something that you would want to challenge a character and 1 damage would be enough to have it survive, and the 1 damage would be of significance on an opponent's character, then I would play this. That would be enough value. Letting my character survive and removing one of their characters would absolutely be enough value to play this. But just, basically dealing 1 damage for 4 would not be enough.
Yeah. This one is straight to traffic school, which is...
I'm getting more confused by the analogies. Oh, this is irritating me so much. All right.
At least there's only like 8 new cards, so it's only going to happen 8 times.
Goofy, set for adventure. If I had like the parameters where it was, because I usually crop right to the card when I do these, but we'll see. Anyways, Goofy, set for adventure. It's an inkable 2/2, 1 lore. Once during your turn, whenever this character moves to a location, you may move one of your other characters to that location for free. If you do, draw a card. What do you think?
Well, it does say draw a card on it, but you have to do how many things to get it done?
You got some hoops to jump through. You have to have a location. You have to have a location you want in your deck.
Yeah.
And then want to play, because sometimes I'll have like a D location that's inkable in my deck, where it's like, most of the time I'm going to ink it, but maybe I got to play it. So I got to want it in the deck. I got to want to play it. I got to have another character, and I got to move him to there. And I get to draw a card for all of that, but then I'm left with a 2/2.
Yeah.
Can I just have Maleficent and pay 1 more ink? I'd have to do the rest of that.
Put it in D.
Definitely a D card, which is to say it's still a body. Every once in a while it might be usable, but I can't think of too many locations that are in this set. Like Hidden Cove, maybe. Mont Nui, maybe. Both as like Ds. Spoiler alert. All right.
Megara.
Yeah.
2/1 with 1 lore, and the ability when you play this character, chosen character gets +2 strength this turn.
And she's inkable. And she's an ally. I don't think there's much ally synergies in this set, if any. So that's not really relevant. I think hero and princess is pretty much the only two main synergies in this set. So I don't normally like giving plus strength in limited if it's attached to an item or an action, because it's not worth a card. But I get to keep a 2-1 here. So if the vanilla stat line is a 2-3, so I'm losing 2 willpower, but I'm allowing my other character to trade up. I think that's pretty useful. Keep in mind, she probably shouldn't be you probably shouldn't be playing her on turn 2. For that to happen, you'd have to be on the draw. You'd have to have like a 1-3 and your opponent have a 2-3 or something like that. That's about the only situations where you'd play her on 2. So don't just play her out. Even if you don't have another 2-drop, I probably wouldn't just play her out unless your opponent's really tempoing you. They've got that Cursed Merfolk into Enchantress. Just hold back. Rather not play a 2-drop than just play her as a 2-1. But even so, probably have her in like mid-C territory. I'd probably have her over Stitch.
Sure, that sounds good. I like the plus strength, especially in the mid-late game when you need to take care of something that might have some pretty high willpower.
Yep. Again, if it's attached to an action or an item, I just think it's not worth a card. But when you get a reasonable body left behind, I much prefer 2-1 to 1-2. This came up yesterday in our 1-drop review. I much prefer 2-1 to 1-2, so I'm glad it is that. Okay, Enchantress, Unexpected Judge. She's an inkable 1/1/2 lore, and while being challenged, this character gets +2 strength. So she's trading even or above for a couple of turns.
Yeah, I like this one. This is good lore, good trade. So I would absolutely put this. I mean, at the lowest C+, but I would probably put it at B for me.
Yeah, I usually try to go more aggressive with my like 4, 5, 6s than my 2s. But if I'm gonna go aggressive with a 2, this is where I want to be. You're gonna be a little sad if she, gets bopped by the Rose Lantern or by the Bell 3-drop Amethyst one that moves the damage. But it's so infrequent that it's probably not going to happen. So she's probably going to get challenged, in which case she's probably going to trade even or above. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I think probably in the C+ to B- territory. As soon as this starts creeping to the edge, we're probably going to move her up. So I should probably just put her there now. I just know that she'll be at the bottom of there. Because, yeah, we're running out of space.
Ursula Deceiver, the 1/3/1 lore, and when you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a song of your choice.
This is the only situation where she's going to be worse than Ursula Vanessa. Yeah, there's just not enough songs that are playable in limited, even in this set. As I mentioned, probably going to be better songs in this set than on average, but not by enough to make you want to play a 2-cost 1/3. That's going to be most of the time a vanilla. Lets you see their hand, so it's not a vanilla, but that information's not necessarily strong enough to warrant playing her. Aladdin, Prince Ali, inkable 2/2/1 lore with Ward. What do you think about Ward in limited?
I mean, there's usually not enough stuff that you need to worry about. So it basically is like having a vanilla. So I'm guessing this one's going to be in the D's because it's not great stats.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, even if they could use removal on this, if they remove 2/2, you're probably happy about that. So it's like, 1, there's not enough removal for Ward to be that relevant. I would argue in this set, probably a little bit more than normal. Most of the time in limited, I will tell you that Ward is almost meaningless. In this set, maybe a touch more, because you've got a little bit more removal than normal. But even so, on a 2/2, no, we don't care. There isn't the shift Aladdin, sadly. We don't have the 5/5 to shift onto.
That would be one reason why I'd be put this a little higher, as if the 5/5 had been reprinted.
Yeah.
Sudden Chill. Each opponent discards a card. Action song.
Yeah. Back down in D. I know some people that like discard in limited. Here's the problem with discard in limited. If you're not left with any other value, you've traded one card for their one card, but you've invested in it and they haven't. So you've invested ink or the singing, your character exerting, and they haven't invested anything. So you both lose a card, but you're the one that's invested in it. So it's to your detriment. The only time that this is usually ever good is if you can snag their last card before they get into top deck mode, and it's probably their 6-drop or something like that. That's about the only time. And the number of times that comes up is not going to be nearly enough to warrant playing this in your deck. It's still ink, so I would still have it in that D territory. And, you know, if you wanted to argue putting it above here, sure. I don't think it matters all that much. But it's going to be so infrequent that you're going to want to play it. That, yeah, treat this as a D.
I love taking that last card from someone.
Oh, it feels great. But again, the number of times that happens, because you're going to have one in your deck. If you're drafting more than one, you're not doing it right. So you're probably going to have one in your deck as ink. So the amount of times you're going to see it at the right time. And the amount of times you're going to be able to time it right? So if you've got this early on in the game, you should be inking it, right? If you draw it later in the game, it's too late. You want to draw this on turn 4 or 5 so that you can wait like one turn and hope to snag it. But there's times where they might get from 2 cards down to 0 faster than you anticipated, right? So, okay. Make the potion. It's an uninkable action. You can choose one. Banish chosen item. Or deal 2 damage to chosen damaged character.
Straight to jail.
So far into jail. Oh my goodness. In a set where we have Fire the Cannons? Like... so bad.
Into damaged character.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, come on.
Like, I didn't like Stampede in the first place. 1 costs 2 damage to a damaged character. Like, it's so bad.
All right, inkable item, family fishing pole, 2 abilities. This item enters play exerted, and exert the item, spend 1, and banish the item. Return chosen exerted character of yours to your hand to gain 2 lore.
It's another trap. People love things that say gain 2 lore, and I get it. Here's the problem. It's going to take 2 turns for this to happen. And you have to have an exerted character. I know you're probably going to, but if you top deck this to an empty board, it feels really bad. And 3, spending a card to gain 2 lore, especially with hoops, is not good enough. A 1/4 vanilla character is probably going to do better than this card will. The only time this is ever going to be good, and almost every card, including Make the Potion, has a situation where it's good. So don't get too excited. But the only time this is good is if you've got that tempo deck going, and you know you're being aggressive, and you can quest with your 2 lore character, gain 2 lore, and save it, and put it back out ready. And be poised to win the game. And you've got that in your head. I know you do. As soon as you saw this card, and I'm not talking to you, James, might be, but I'm talking to all you out there that were envisioning this. I know you've got that in your head. That situation is going to come up so infrequently that you're going to have wasted a spot in your deck on this. Again, it's inkable, so it's not an F. But I think it's so infrequently that this is going to happen. I think back to, I think it was Shimmering Skies, where we had the 2-cost item that if you had... I think 2 or 3 characters in play, you could banish it to gain 2 lore. It wasn't good, and it has less hoops to jump through than this does.
I think that was a location, wasn't it?
No, there was an item that you banish it. I think you have to have 3 characters in play, you banish it, and you've got Hero's Medal in Shimmering Skies. Yeah.
Yeah, because 100 Acre Wood, I think, does that also as a location. If you have 3 characters there, you can banish it for lore.
Yeah. So... what did you feel when you first saw this card before I just had my rant?
This one would be one where I'm like, well, this could win me a game at the very end of a game.
It can.
I could just let it sit there for however long I need it until the end of the game. If it can win me the game.
You know what could also win you the game? Any of the characters that we've been looking at. Yeah, it's just it's going to win a game. There's going to be someone out there that is going to play this card and it's going to win a game, but it's just not going to happen nearly as frequently as you think it will. And if it's been sitting there for a while, it means you played it early, which means you spent 2 ink that you could have been spending on a character to actually affect the board. So, I mean, again, fight me on it if you want to.
No, that's fine.
This is not meant to be a totalitarian system. I'm just putting it there because I had the last word, but fight me on it if you want to. Signed contract. Item, whenever an opponent plays a song, you may draw a card.
This is horrible because how many songs are people going to be playing?
This is one of those inkable Fs I was talking about. This is a card that is so bad that I don't even want you to treat it as ink. I just want you to stay away from it. Your opponent's not going to be playing songs.
It doesn't even get inked.
No, don't even put it in as ink. You're going to have enough of these other cards as ink that you don't need to play this.
LeFou, Instigator, 2/2 with 1 lore. It's inkable. When you play this character, ready, chosen character, they can't quest for the rest of this turn.
Yeah, I love this in Limited. So this is one of those things where if this was an action, not worth it. But you attach a 2/2 body for 2, and all of a sudden it's worth it, because it can mean your bigger bodies can challenge 2 characters. Your 2 lore questers can ready up and not be able to be challenged. Not that Tiana's in this set, but everyone's been talking about how this is going to block Tiana and Constructed. But yeah, there's just a bodyguard. If they've got a bodyguard, this can ready it and keep them from bodyguarding. So there's enough utility for the ability, and then you give me a body attached to it, especially at 2 cost for a 2/2. I'm very happy with that. For me, I've got this in the probably B+ territory.
Yeah, I would absolutely be putting this in immediately.
Yeah. But again, don't play it on 2.
No.
This is a card you want to play later in the game to make best use of.
This is a nice combo card.
Yeah. This is going to be contentious.
Yeah.
Is it my turn or yours?
To read.
I've already forgotten. It's a vanilla 1/1/3 lore. Simba. Uninkable.
It's 3 lore. It's uninkable. It's 1/1. It's got good stuff. It's got horrible stuff. Where do you put it?
The question becomes, is it worth a card to spend 2 ink in a card for 3 lore? Because there's a very good chance you're going to get 3 lore out of it, right? Yes, there's going to be situations where you don't. If they fire the cannons you feel real bad. But most of the time, you're going to get 3 lore out of it. Full stop, that's it, though. Unless you have all the bodyguards. You're probably only getting 3 lore out of it. I still think it's playable. I don't think it's an F. I think there's enough bodyguards and enough situations where it's probably worth playing, but not by much. Where do you think you got it?
I would 100% be careful with this one because it's uninkable. And even with the 3 lore, the 1/1 is really just such a danger territory when someone could just move a damage or, like you say, fire the cannons for just 1.
Yeah.
And they can get the 3 lore that you just played. And so, yeah, I would be wary of this, but I would also...
I mean, it might be an F. You might be selling me, because there's more removal in this set than the average set, right? We've got Fire the Cannons, we've got Smash, we've got the 2 bells, the one that moves 1 damage, the one that moves 3. Obviously, the last one being a much higher rarity, but the other 3 are commons or uncommons.
I'd still probably put it in D because I would play this if I had room for uninkables and it fit in my curve. So I would definitely consider it.
I would say in this... See, I hate having uninkables in D, because if it's bad enough to be in D, it should be in F.
All right.
So I would either put it in F or I'd put it down here somewhere.
Put it in front of the feather.
Okay.
Just so we continue to make sure that the feather is the worst.
The bottom of it. Dig it. All right. Powerline, taking the stage. Inkable, 3/2, 1 lore, Singer 4.
So much better stats than Ursula Vanessa.
Yep. Definitely not in this territory. I think the 2 cost 3/2 vanilla alone is into C. But where do you think relative to some of these others?
Oh, geez. I mean, I guess it just depends on if you prefer strength over willpower, because otherwise it's basically going to go either right in front of or right behind the vanilla Stitch.
Yep. I'm with you. And so for me, I prefer the 2-3 because again, I see enough opportunities that come up where I might be able to get a 2-for-1, whereas I'm never getting a 2-for-1 with power line. You're trading up instead. So the question is, do I prefer to go after card advantage or do I prefer to go after ink advantage? Right? Power line is more likely to trade up into a 3-drop. Stitch is more likely to trade 2-for-1 for a 1-drop and a 2-drop, let's say. Right? He takes care of your opponent's 2-2 and then trades into the power line. Right? Whereas power line more likely takes out your 3-cost 3-3 or something like that, right? I say more likely. That isn't necessarily a common situation, but that is more likely than the other one, right? So it depends on your strategy. I think this is where you should really evaluate how you are going to build your deck. So for me, I'm going after the 2-3, but I'm not going to fault you going after the 3-2. What do you usually like to prioritize in that situation?
I usually have to take a look at all of the other characters I have and see if I have enough strength to feel comfortable. Otherwise, I have to put in more strength.
I think that's fair, right? So
I've played enough limited games where I have felt unable to continue challenging and affect my opponent's board because I just didn't have enough strength. And therefore, if I had built with a few extra higher strength cards, I could have handled those things.
Yeah. You got Kuzco and Enchantress and Simba, and you're like, oh. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think let's put it slightly above just because Singer 4 isn't going to be very relevant, but it's not insignificant, so. Yeah, this is a new card, but for some reason... Oh, what? I don't know. This is killing me, James.
It's not perfect. Roxanne, Powerline fan, Inkable, 2-3, with the ability, while you have a character with Singer in play, this character gets +1 strength and +1 lore. All right, now that Powerline's looking better.
I mean, she's definitely above Stitch. Let's just get that out of the way because she's more than a vanilla. Yeah. I've already established I'm not keen to have Singers in my deck, or more specifically, rate them very highly. Like, spoiler alert, when you get to Powerline, the 6-drop, I'm going to tell you that you're going to take it first every time, but as a draft card, it should be like a D. But other than that, most of the Singers are probably not going to rate very highly or make the deck at all. But if you've got them, she becomes great. So she's definitely above Stitch. I just don't know how far above.
Well, honestly,
in a vacuum, right? Like in the average deck, the average number of Singers. Obviously, if you have more Singers, she goes up. But
there's a lot of Singers in this set, though.
Is there a lot?
There's
definitely a decent amount, but I don't think there's a ton.
It's not like the puppy situation in a couple of the sets where there was 3 puppies and like nothing. I think there's at least 5 or 6.
Yeah, but 5 or 6 when you probably only want to draft 1 or 2, and the rest are just going to be chaff that you get in the last couple of
okay. Like put her above the power line.
I think above power line, I think
she's basically the same as
I think in the average deck where you might have 1 or 2 Singers in the deck, she's probably here. Obviously, she goes up and potentially as high as like Enchantress territory if for some reason you've got a lot of Singers. But if you've got a lot of Singers, you're probably not drafting very well. So, or you've just... Is there even bomb sing together cards? I don't even think there is. Like Mob Song.
The Singer may just be like the last card that you're getting multiple packs. And like, oh, look, I ended up with 5 Singers.
Yeah. I would say the sing together songs from Ursula's Return are definitely solid cards. But like Circle of Life, spoiler alert again, isn't going to rate very highly for me. All right. Gaston, Arrogant Hunter, I think it's me, but whatever, is an inkable 4-2 with Reckless, thus no lore. What do you think?
No lore, but he's 4. I mean, I like the being able to take care of something for 2 cost, especially the higher cost characters, but the no lore, so I don't know. He's playable, but barely.
I think you've got it, which is to say, in Limited, unfortunately, there's going to be enough times where, especially if you put him down on 2, they just quest with their 1-cost 2-2 and leave everything else behind. I would even do that on like turn 4, just to eat your 4-2 with my 1-cost and get it out of the way. So unless you happen to have Be Our Guest that he can sing, then yeah. I mean, I still think he's valuable. I still think he's playable because there's going to be enough times where you can make use of him. But I would almost hesitate to drop him on turn 2. I would probably want to drop him, with a 3 drop on turn 5 or something like that, and just call my opponent's bluff. Say, hey, you're gonna not quest with anything next turn, or are you gonna give me a 4 drop to run this into? So probably above power line. Probably. I don't know, somewhere in that territory, in the vanilla territory.
Yeah, right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Again, depending on what you need. So
Right.
if you really need strength, who's there? Somewhere in between the vanillas. All right.
Lumiere, Inkable, 2/2, 1 lore, and your other characters get +1 strength.
So I mentioned I don't normally like plus strength, especially on items. This is on a character. It's on a character you're not going to want to quest with, so that holds it back. But on average, you'd end up stacking a relatively wide board. Like, I'd say usually you have like probably 2 or 3 other characters most of the time. So if you're giving them each +1 strength, if there are already 4 or 5 strength, that's meaningless. But if you've got a lot of 2, 3 strength characters, it becomes a lot more valuable. So I think much like the equation you were talking about earlier, James, if you're looking at your deck and you're seeing that you're in need of strength, this becomes great. If you're not, and it's kind of a superfluous strength, then he goes down in value. I think in a vacuum in the average deck, you're going to have some low strength and some high strength. So he's probably going to maybe affect 1.5 conflicts, 1.5 challenges per turn. It's probably enough with the body attached to be worth a decent rank. I would say definitely above Beg. Probably above Be Our Guest. I don't know if above Rapunzel though. What do you think?
That sounds good. Yeah, I would almost always be playing him just for having all of that extra strength on, because it's every other character. So
Yeah.
you're not limited to what you can do, which is nice.
Cool.
It's not like an item that gives it to one character at a time or something.
Yep. As usual, our C's are getting glutted. I've already lost. I'm so tired, James. You go ahead.
Queen of Hearts, another 2/2 with 1 lore, Inkable, but this one has Rush.
Oh yeah, I did talk first. You go ahead and tell the people how you feel about Queen.
This one is absolutely playable. I love Rush.
I like Rush, but on a 2/2 body.
Hey, got to do what you got to do.
If this was a 2/3, so this is why I liked King Candy. In Shimmering Skies, it was an uninkable 2-cost 2/3 rush. I like that because it was going to survive something, right? I can rush into your 1-drop and survive to tell the tale.
Right.
Unless your opponent's playing a 1/2, which they probably shouldn't most of the time, she's probably not surviving to tell the tale, or even have something to rush into. So I like her, but I don't love her. Where did you think you had her?
I was probably going to be putting her in Bs just because I want Rush, but also this thing would be 100% in B if I actually pulled the Shift Queen as well.
Oh, I mean, yes. Definitely she shoots up massively because that Shift Queen's fantastic. Lumiere obviously makes her better.
Yeah. Or if you're playing it later on and you can combo it with one of the other strength characters like Meg.
All right, I'll put it above Rapunzel. I don't know that I'm fully there, but I'm not so like hard and fast against it that. And plus, I just need to even on the B's. I need more in the B column. All right, you can fly. Action song, Inkable. Chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. Where do you think I have this, James?
Not good. If this had like some of the other action songs do that said at the very end, draw a card.
Yeah.
Is like absolutely playable. But I think because it does nothing but give evasive, this is, again, very situational on how many evasives you end up pulling.
Yeah, I don't understand why this and why whatever the new Goofy movie, the 3-cost song is, why they don't draw a card. Like, is this ability so strong that you can't draw a card to it? Because if it had that, it would be imminently playable. But even then, it still wouldn't be a bomb. Ravensburger. Even with draw a card on this, it's not a bomb. It's like in the like B- territory, C+. Without that, I mean, it's definitely below the magic feather, and I would say arguably quite a bit below that. Like, again, it becomes a necessary evil if you don't have evasive answers. You need to put this on your 5/5 to run into their best evasive threat.
Right.
But it's still probably like down here somewhere.
Yep. Because it could be ink.
It can be ink. And it's not, it is useful sometimes. It is useful enough. Again, if they've got, a 2/3 tool or evasive and you've got no evasive answers, you're going to be real happy for you can fly on your 4/4. But most of the time it's just not worth the cost of a card.
Medallion weights item. Exert the item, spend 2. Chosen character gets +2 strength with this turn, and whenever they challenge the character this turn, you may draw a card.
Oh! Compare this to Magic Mirror.
Right?
Like, I have to challenge. There is a hoop. It is not perfect, just pay 2, draw a card. But, like, almost every time, every game, every turn, you have a character that could challenge and you would want to challenge. Plus, you get the +2 strength, so you can send your duds into their decent-sized bodies and draw a card. Be still my heart. It's still not an A territory, but this is like a B+ for me.
And this is really great after turn 4 or 5-ish.
Yeah.
And you probably aren't going to be pulling a 6-drop every turn, a 5-drop, so you can spend that 2 ink to do something and play a character at the same time.
Yeah. If I'm on the play and I've got a 2-cost 2/3 in my hand, I'm definitely playing this. Because the 2/3 is not going to be impactful enough to really warrant it. Again, unless my opponent's being super aggressive. Just to get it out of my hand. So that now my 3-drops, my 4-drops, all of that becomes so much more impactful. And this will partner well with, if I've got that 2/3 and a 1-drop, or on turn 4, 2 2-drops, partner well with that. Then I dump out a couple of them on those turns, and they start doing the business with medallion weights. You're absolutely right. It's around turn 4 or 5 that I want to be activating this. Turn 4, if I've got a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, and then turn 4 I use this, I play it and use it, also perfectly worthwhile. If I've got a better 2-drop than a 2/3 vanilla, I'm probably playing it over this. But if it's a 2/3 vanilla and I'm on the play, I'm probably just playing this early just to get it done. I really like this. I think I like it more than LeFou. Just repeatable card draw.
Yeah.
And there's so many bad items. There's so few good items that item removal is really bad and limited. So there's almost no chance your opponent's able to remove this. And if they do, they've probably drafted bad and you're probably going to win anyway.
What is it? Wildcat?
Yeah.
Or
Wildcat's about the only one. That's true. 2/3 evasive for 3 and you can remove items. Perfectly reasonable. That's about the only item removal that I'm really caring to play. Huey. Inkable. 2/2 1 lore with support. Whenever this character quests, if you happen to have characters named Dewey and Louie in play, you may draw 3 cards.
That's not happening.
It's a 2/2 support. How do we feel about it as that?
D. I mean, it's good because it's got support. You can buff up something else, so it's better than just straight vanilla, but not much better.
So this is where, what is surprise worth? Because this is, without factoring in the surprise factor, this is just straight up better than Meg. Because it's a 2/2 that gives +2 versus a 2/1 that gives +2. But the ability to surprise your opponent with the +2 strength versus they know this is coming, I think is significant. So I agree that I would have it considerably below Meg, even though there's a chance you might be able to do this twice. That the fact that they know it's coming and can plan around it matters a lot. I think I probably still have it in the like C- territory. I probably have it like here. Because I still think that the +2 strength.
Oh.
What's that?
Trying to even it out.
I know. There's just no there's no doing that. There's always, especially the 2-drops, there's always more C's and D's than anything else. There's almost never A's. What? This is so tiny. Oh my goodness.
Crazy. Where'd you download these?
Mushu report.
Goodness.
We need Dreamborn. Dreamborn, please come back from vacation early.
A 3/2 with 1 lore, inkable. During your turn, this character gains evasive.
Really good with Timothy Mouse. Okay, so we can already agree it's above power line. Easy, right?
Evasive.
So the question is just how far. I think 3 strength against evasive threats is huge. I would rather the genie from the last set, 3 cost 3/4 than this, but that was great. We should not get used to a card of that quality. So I think with that being said, I would put this above Queen of Hearts. I would probably even put it above Enchantress.
That sounds good.
And we even have one more of these.
Yeah, right?
The resizing. All right. Anna, Braving the Storm, Inkable, 1/4, 1 lore. If you have another hero character in play, this character gets +1 strength. Dreamborn is not active yet, so I can't search for hero. So I don't know how many heroes are in this set, but I know there's a fair amount.
Just in the 2 drops that we were looking at, there's like around 8.
Yeah. So there's a good amount of heroes.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So this one, I think it's much more playable than most of the other 1/4s because of that bonus lore, and you're going to have heroes on board, almost guaranteed.
Way more than Timothy Q Mouse.
So, I mean, this could fit at the very end of B if you wanted it to, because I think that this is a very playable card.
Yeah, I think you're just going to fall into heroes enough. There's so many hero characters, like, that it's going to be... But you might have to sit on it, right? Like, if you're probably going to quest for 1 once on, turn 3. And then you're probably going to have to sit on it for a little while to wait to quest for it again. But then you've got a 1/4 body that was inkable, so you could have inked it, that's going to gain you as much lore as Simba. And is going to distract your opponents for probably a couple of turns, because they'll probably challenge it the first time you quest. So yeah, I like it in that bottom of the B, like B- territory. Obviously, if you're looking at your deck and you're like, I somehow have no heroes, then she drops down a lot. But that's probably not going to be likely. If you just draft 2 or 3 of them alone, she covers herself. So if you got 2 of these in play, she's her own hero. Aurora Tranquil Princess, 1/3, 1 lore, ward.
Again, ward doesn't mean much. So yeah, worse than the 2/2, right?
Yeah. And so you might argue, but what if I have Shift Aurora? She is not worthwhile enough to be shifting. You probably shouldn't be challenging with her because you probably want to quest with the 2 lore body. So it's not worth spending a card to shift her. There are very niche scenarios where it would be worthwhile to shift her, but it's just probably not worth spending the card to shift her. Just play her on 5. So, yeah.
Okay.
And you probably even shouldn't draft her all that much anyway. Oh my gosh.
Look at that thing. So this is another Aurora, 2/2 with 2 lore. Inkable.
These are just textbook C- for me. They're playable, especially if you're low on 2 drops. But I would much rather have a 3/2 and take out someone else's, because you're going to quest for 2, and then this is going to get banished to a 2/3 or a 3/3. This is where I get my 2-for-1s. When people play cards like this is where I get my 2-for-1s with my 2/3 Stitch. So again, it feels good to be like, hey, I got a 2 lore quester out on turn 2. And it feels real bad as soon as your opponent plays a 2/3. So it's still playable. It'll still quest for 2, right? That's enough. But I don't think it's very high. I would put it above Simba, probably. I don't know about you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Because inkable.
Yeah. I mean, I guess probably even above Kim, because, yeah. I don't know. Somewhere in that range. Oh, this is so frustrating. All right, one jump ahead. Uninkable action song. Put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exert it.
Well, I did remember you saying that you do not like ramp in limited, so
I like Mickey Mouse Detective. Right? That is the type of ramp I like.
So yeah, I would not play this. It's uninkable. If I wanted ramp, I would use something else. if there is any other ramp in this set.
Yeah. The reason why a ramp's problematic is it's not consistent enough, right? Because if I knew that I had 4 of these in my deck, then yeah, I'm going to draft higher bodies. I'm going to play this every turn 2, and I'm going to be happy, right? But what happens? You got 1 of these in your deck, and you top deck it on turn 7, and you feel real bad. So yeah, if you get this out on exactly turn 2, it's fine. You get to your cards slightly faster. You get to your bigger bodies slightly faster at the cost of a card, especially on the play. Fine plus. But for every time you're playing it on turn 2, there's probably 8 times where you're top decking on turn 6 or 7. So it's the best F so far.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Believe it or not. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if you can read this one.
I can. Aurelian Pyrosensor. Item. Inkable. Whenever one of your characters quests, you may look at the top card of your deck, put it either on the top or bottom of your deck. All right. I love the option of card filtering.
Yeah.
But
believe it or not, I think this is playable. So let me try and sell you on why, because I can feel you being in the D territory with this. Filtering on average is bad in Limited. Why is that? Because your deck's bad in general. So your average card isn't going to be much better than the next card after it in the deck. Yes, you might have a bomb somewhere hidden in there, but the average card is not going to be much better than the average other card. Think about, what was it? Water Has Memory or whatever it was called, where you got to look at like 4 cards. It's like, oh, they're all just kind of mid. It's like, so on average, filtering isn't great. However, this is repeatable filtering and on a thing you always want to be doing, which is questing. So if you can get this out turn 2, 3, 4, you're probably getting like 5 or 6 filters out of this or more. In which case, it's not bad. When I say playable, I should posit that normally something like this I would probably put as like an inkable F, but I think it's better than Magic Feather, for example. Not by much, but I think it is.
All right. So this, I would say that the value on it definitely goes up the more uninkables you have in your deck.
Okay. Because you can potentially put those to the bottom if you don't want them.
If at the time you really are hunting for...
Yeah, for ink. That's a good point. I don't know if enough, because hopefully you don't have more than like for me, 6 and less is where I'm comfortable. 8 is playable. Anything more than 8 and you're probably in trouble. So that's, 20% of the deck if I've got 8? So yeah, if I've got 7 or 8, I'm probably going to value this slightly more. But I don't know that that comes up enough.
Oh, man, if you got all of the great uninkable cards and you're like, I need to play 10.
I've done that. I've done that in Shivering Skies where I think I had 11. But it's because I had 3 of the 9 drops that I'm like, I can get these out for like 5. It's fine. It was a tenuous... I won that draft, but it was very tenuous. I had a couple of very dodgy opening hands. Yeah, I mean... I'm not going to fight too hard on this. It's somewhere between D+ and C-.
You got room in D+.
I do have room in D+. All right, let's put it there for the sake. You know what? Sorry. Feather, you're going down. You're coming up.
All right.
This is more playable than Feather. 567%.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Musha Report, you're killing me. Coconut Basket. Inkable item. Whenever you play a character, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character.
This would be so frustrating if you are running into characters and trying to get rid of them and you don't have a lot of strength and you're leaving damage, and like every turn they throw this down, and then every turn they're getting rid of it just because they play a new character. That would be so frustrating, but how often is that going to happen?
If that's happening, you're doing it wrong.
Well,
if they have Coconut Basket down, like that might happen the first time they surprise you with it, right? But if you let that keep happening, as soon as they have Coconut Basket out, you should be like, all right, Now I know I have to finish the job or not bother. So, and this is where it forces me to play around it. So where this card has strength is it makes me play non-ideal lines, or at least what I would, with this not being in play, my ideal line changes once this is in play. But is that enough to be worth a card and probably removing 2 to 4 damage? Like, compare this to Rapunzel, where I get the 1/4 body and I get to remove 2 to 4 damage and distract my opponent's characters for a turn. They're not removing it, so there's an argument to say that you might get more out of it, but I've seen this played enough in the first chapter where I'm like, it's so inconsequential almost all of the time. It's inkable, so there's something to be said for that. I would be fine with bumping Aurelian Gyrosphere down and putting this in its place, but I don't know that I'd go much higher than that.
I don't know.
Where do you want to see it? I'm willing to negotiate. Again, this isn't a dictatorship. You just haven't fought hard enough for your...
It just moves based on the willpower, overall willpower of my characters.
Yep, that's another thing. If your characters aren't surviving, if you've got 4 2s and 3 2s, it goes down in value. If you've got a lot of bodyguards, it probably goes up.
So, I mean, D+, C-, yeah, somewhere in there.
Okay. Aurelian Gyrosphere, you had a brief moment in the sun. You're coming down here. All right.
Otanui, inkable, location, with 5 willpower, move cost of 1 lore, and the ability, whenever a character is banished while here, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exert it.
This is the version of ramp that I like. I'll tell you why. Because I'm not expecting to get more than 1 or 2 ramp out of it. But I'm always going to get 1 because I'm not going to put this down until I'm ready to use it. And I'm probably going to get 2 because I'm probably going to put it down at a point where I can use it twice. And it's got 5 willpower, so it's going to distract probably 2 of my opponent's characters. And maybe I can sneaky get 1 lore out of it before they do. So I'm not playing this until probably like turn 6, when I can like put this down, move a couple characters, maybe play another 2-drop or something like that. Maybe turn 4 or 5. So if I'm playing at turn 6, I haven't ramped all the way up to 6, right? Maybe I don't have my big bodies yet. But if I can get from, say, 4 ink to 5 to 6 with this, or if I've been greedy and I've got Hades 7-drop in my deck, and I need it to get from 5 to 6 to 7, this is not only replacing itself, because that's the thing, is you could just ink this instead of, getting the ink ability from it. But this is where I'm hoping that I can get 2 out of it, and I'm trying to get 1 lore sneaky out of it, but probably not. But I'm distracting 2 of my opponent's characters. That's probably 2 lore at least right there. Especially if there's one of them's a 2 lore character, then that's 3 lore, right? So I'm getting at least the equivalent ink out of it, probably 2 or 3 lore out of my opponent in the process, and maybe I can do better than that. So this is like the perfect D+ for me. This is a card that most of the time I'm probably going to ink it, but every once in a while, I'm going to do some good work with this.
Yeah, I like this card too. It's one of the few times I would be looking at a location to actually play it, especially since it does have that lore. I mean, even if it was just a distraction for the opponent to make them run into this instead of a character that I had out that I wanted to survive a little bit longer. Either way, it gets you some lore. Either they take out the character or this, so you're going to get some lore out of it.
Yep. So assuming, again, you're at 4 or 5 ink, if you can get 2 ink out of this, it's card draw, right? You've gotten 2 value, because it means you didn't have to ink other cards. If you're already at like 6 ink, all of a sudden that 2 ink is much less valuable, because you're probably never going to use 8 ink again past that point. So that factors in as well. I mean, I like this more than Coconut Basket, but it sounds like maybe you don't. But I would probably have this. I mean, I fought for it, but I should probably have Simba an F. And I would definitely have it above Coconut Basket. You know what? I don't know. Do you feel that strongly? Should we just put Simba down in a high F?
Let's put him in F.
Okay. Alright, Nala. She is an uninkable 0/2 lore. While this character has no damage, she gets +1 lore and gains resist +1. She is a slightly better Simba.
She's a better Simba because that resist is something that someone's going to have to deal with.
I mean, they're going to run their 3/3 into it, right? But, I mean, at least their 2/2 can't run into it. So it is, I say, slightly better than Simba because the 1 damage doesn't really mean much to me, and I'd rather have to distract their higher strength character than Simba that could be taken out by a 1/2.
This is going to make them think. This is going to make them try and figure out, okay, this got that resist. How am I going to get past that?
I mean, let's be frank. You're going to take this first pick because it's going to be good and constructed. So let's get that out of the way. I know, but I've got to try and rank things based on their actual draft value. But yes, you're going to take this first pick because it's going to be good and thus worth money. So I would I'd have her over Coconut Basket. Again, I would not have Coconut Basket there, but I don't know. Do you want to fight for it being below Coconut Basket?
Oh, put it above.
Okay.
I would play this first.
Okay. Any further up would you have it?
I mean, I feel like probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay. We're almost there.
We got some good ones coming here.
Oh my goodness. Little John, Sir Reginald. Uninkable 2/2/1 lore. When you play this character, choose one. Chosen hero character gains resist +2 this turn, or deal 2 damage. Chosen villain character.
I mean, I like the deal 2 damage, but it's limited to villains.
That is really problematic. If it wasn't limited to villains, this would be fantastic. There's definitely villains in the set, but they're not nearly as prevalent as heroes.
It's playable-ish.
Is
so
it?
It-ish. I mean, it would be I would play this at the top. Maybe
I wouldn't be happy with an uninkable 2/2 that gives a character resist +2. A hero character resist +2. So for me, it's got to be the second one for me to consider it playable. And there's not nearly enough villains, especially low-cost villains, that 2 damage is going to take them out.
I mean, I'd love to take out that Gaston with this thing.
Sure. Again, but how many villains in here? What we got? One, that's not a villain, that's an ally. So 1, 2, 3 villains that we've got above C at this cost, which is where the 2 damage is going to be most impactful, that are likely to be drafted. What are the chances they're actually out when we need this? Like, again, if this was inkable, absolutely. But taking up an uninkable slot for this?
Put it at the top of the jail.
Top of jail it is. I would definitely have this at top of jail. I can agree with that much. Hey, we already know where this goes.
Cruella.
With Cruella, and they're both villains, so you can't even argue one over the other in terms of like types. Oh my gosh.
That was the Jafar.
If you were looking at the 2 zoomed in, and Heath has been too lazy to edit, which he probably has been. That was the Jafar that is identical to the Cruella. 3/2 gain evasive on your turn.
Okay, Robin Hood, uninkable 1/3 with the ability Exert, deal 1 damage to chosen character, and he has 1 lore.
And he's a hero, which might matter. I really like this. For me, I like this because I know that I'm happy to play with this. I think, and I've said this before, and I can't stress this enough. This is not to critique you, my friends, but I talk about the average player. The average player is going to misplay this. They're just going to use it as soon as they're able. They're not going to use it to effective value, and they're just going to get it challenged by a 3/2 and lose it and be sad. So I like this because I feel like if you can use this well, and you can draft a couple of them, that you can make it work. It is uncommon, so it's less likely. I don't know. I get these passed a lot, so this is why I felt like I could draft a couple of them. Though to be fair, when I used to draft this, it had the action where it banished a damaged character, and I used it in conjunction with that a lot. So the value's got to go down then because that's not in the set. I have fond memories of drafting this.
You do have Make the Potion.
So there's plenty of times where your opponents get favorable challenges and are left with 1 willpower remaining. So this is where this really shines. Yes, there's like the enchantresses. If your opponent drops an enchantress, you drop this right away. It's like, I'm taking out your enchantress, and if I do nothing else and it just gets challenged back, so be it. But like this really shines kind of in the mid game where you're making challenges back and forth, right? So if you can get this out, take care of a character that has 1 willpower left, find a way for it to survive another day, which usually involves bodyguards, it can be really annoying for your opponent. I'm not trying to sell this as anywhere near like a B or an A, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to sell this as playable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a repeatable damage?
Potentially repeatable. It's got to survive for it to be repeatable, but yes.
Definitely. Do it right. It's going to survive.
Yeah. Again, it depends on how many uninkables you have, so I probably wouldn't draft this highly, pick 1, pack 1, but like, if I'm into pack 3, latter pack of pack 2, but even pack 3, if I don't have many uninkables, I'm probably picking this in the like B-, C+ territory. I might even be before then. I don't know.
Go into B-. All
right. James just wants to be done.
Just like, put it in there. I want it in there.
Mickey Mouse, Standard Bearer, Inkable, 1/3, 1 lore, hero. When you play this character, chosen character against challenger +2 this turn. So this is Meg by, with more text.
Yeah, with better stats.
Yeah. So she's definitely above Meg.
Yes. I would play this like 100% of the time.
I mean, yeah, somewhere in there. Okay. Eric,
1/3 inkable with 1 lore and challenger +2, and a hero and a prince.
Yeah, I really like this. I like this to take out those 2/3s and live to tell the tale. Unfortunately, Challenger, like I don't love Challenger in Limited because the crackback, it's just so easy to take care of it. But I still think it's really solid. I don't think it's like great, but I would put this above the 2-cost vanillas that we've got so far. So I would probably even put it above Roxanne. Would I put it above Meg? I don't know, somewhere in that range. What do you think?
It's good in that range, yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna move. We're not gonna move Nala, are we?
No. I'm just gonna at some point fix this so that it bumps down. Usually I could get it so it's 2 lines. I don't know why it's not doing that right now, but just need to shrink this somehow. Anyways, we'll come back. Nala's still there. All right, this is gonna be tough for me. Beast Mirror, inkable item, exert, pay 3. If you have no cards in hand, draw a card.
I mean, it's repeatable card draw, but it's also expensive. But you're also going to run out of cards because it's limited.
Yeah.
But it's also expensive.
So in the first chapter, I love this because it's inkable. So early in the game, I can ink it. But late in the game, it's 1 cost less than Magic Mirror. So this first chapter was slow enough that this was worthwhile. This was usable. This was like in the like B- territory. I think its time has come and gone. I don't think it's fast enough anymore.
I put this in if I have. I mean, obviously this is going in because it's inkable, and if I have room.
Yeah.
It's definitely put in the deck territory.
Yeah.
It's definitely in at the very worst in the Ds.
Yeah. I mean, I'd put it above Coconut Basket, but I keep saying that I'd put a lot of things above Coconut Basket, so.
Oop, Coconut Basket then.
I don't know why this isn't. Usually it generates 2 lines once we get past a certain point, but sure. So this is going down here. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. All right. I don't think we need to spend much time talking about this one.
Straight to jail. Doesn't have lore.
It doesn't
It's
have
inkable,
lore.
though.
Resist +1 is not nearly enough, and it's going to die really quickly. Yeah, it's not an inkable F quite that bad, but it's like...
All the way at the bottom. There
Yeah.
you go. Minus.
It's not even a character.
You're lucky you're not in jail, basically.
Yeah.
The officer was lenient. It's like, all right.
All right, why
You're
is
getting
this
more-
not... I need to figure out why this is not shrinking, but anyways. There's our list. I'm gonna find a way to crop this and put in an image here. You probably already see it above where we've got everything looking
Talking about
properly.
something you're not seeing, right?
Yeah, so suffice to say, best 2 drops, Medallion Waits, LeFou, Cusco. Those are, I feel like, far and away the best 2 drops, and then we got a few kind of sitting in the midst there. So, nice. James, thank you so much for joining me. It was a treat having you on. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere online at Dan Regal, except for Twitch and YouTube, where you can find me at the Dan Regal. No space. And as mentioned before, I am on the Overexerted, a Disney Lorcana podcast, along with Keith and our good buddy Benny.
And someday, very soon, Citizens of Lorcana is coming back. We'll just alternate weeks. Awesome. Thanks so much, James. Thank you all for checking it out. Check us out next time for the 3 drops. I believe we've got David Nunez coming in on that one, so he is an absolute pro. He's going to have some great insight and probably shut me up quite a few times. Thank you all very much. Have a good night. See you next time.